Hello, Tom Lipinski here. Given the energetic state of the planet, I'd like to talk about stress. There are three types of stress: physical, chemical, and emotional. For this conversation, I'll focus on emotional stress. Living in stress is living in survival, and stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of balance, out of homeostasis. Stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of order. When you perceive a threat in your environment, it feels unpredictable and like you're losing control. That perception that things will worsen activates a branch of the autonomic nervous system called the sympathetic nervous system. Its job is to mobilize enormous amounts of energy and resources to prepare for the threat. A large part of this mobilization is the chemicals of stress, commonly known as the hormones cortisol and adrenaline, which are released into your body, placing you into emergency mode. In this state, your heart rate begins to increase and your breathing speeds up. Pupils dilate, salivation stops, and blood flow is redirected from the internal organs to the extremities. Glucose levels rise and immune system activity decreases. Blood flow from your creative frontal lobe shifts to more primitive brain areas to keep you alive. Your body is moving out of balance, away from homeostasis. All your resources are now focused on survival. And when you're in survival mode, your attention is on your body, fight or flight, the environment, the destination, and time. How much of it do you have? The hormones of stress moving through your body cause a surge of energy. Suddenly you become highly reliant on that surge to validate your emotions. It's important to understand that the emotions you experience are all rooted in the past. Statistically, people spend 70% of their time in survival mode. No organism in nature can sustain emergency response indefinitely. Eventually, your response depletes the energy needed for growth and repair. If you keep activating the stress response and can't turn it off, you're headed for disease. That imbalance has now become the new normal. Your body is in a state of dysregulation, your heart is out of sync, your digestion is disrupted, your immune system is weakened, and your reproductive system is shut down. This isn't a time for long-term building or growth. Worth noting, you can switch on the survival response with just a thought. Your body can't tell the difference between a real-life stressful event and one you imagine. To the body, it's all the same. The survival response can also be very subtle. For example, you might feel stress and anger toward a coworker because of something they said. That emotion you feel, caused by stress hormones, can range from anger, hatred, and competition to frustration, envy, and jealousy, guilt, shame, and unworthiness, and to resignation, hopelessness, and depression, just to name a few. These emotions are all created by the hormones of stress, and they're not normal states of consciousness. When you react to a problem or situation in your life, the chemical refractory period causes you to feel differently. The refractory period is the length of time it takes to ease off the emotional response. It's not bad to experience an emotional response. The real question is, how long will you be a victim of your chemistry? Can you shorten your refractory period? If you don't know how to manage your emotional responses after an experience, those feelings can linger. Depending on the length of time the emotional reaction lasts, you can create a mood, temperament, or even a lifelong personality trait. And most people's personalities are based on their past experiences. And if they are that way, living emotionally from the past, they will excuse themselves from changing by telling a story from their past, likely embellishing it, and then defending it, making it seem too hard to change. And half the story or more isn't even the truth. Shortening the refractory period of your emotional reaction is called emotional intelligence. So what is addiction? Addiction is something you believe you can't stop. Since emotions are caused by chemicals, you might become addicted to a life you don't even like. And you'll use your problems and circumstances to reinforce your addiction to that emotion. As I mentioned a moment ago, you can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. You can knock your brain and body out of balance just by your thinking. By remembering your problems or anticipating the worst case scenario in your future, you can become addicted to your own thoughts. And those thoughts, if they keep knocking you out of balance, push the genetic buttons that create disease, which means your thoughts will literally make you sick. But if your thoughts can make you sick, then maybe your thoughts could also make you well. My observation and research indicate yes. How you think and feel can restore your health and well-being. We all understand this to some degree. To go from a state of survival to a state of creation, you must first recognize that you're in survival and then upregulate your thinking and feeling. You must forget about yourself, forget that you're a body, and forget that your identity is connected to everything known in your environment. This means you must leave the familiar and go to the unfamiliar. It is from the unknown, the unfamiliar, where all creation occurs. Nothing new is created from the past. The unknown, where creation occurs, can only be accessed from the present moment. The act of creation involves making your inner world more real than your outer world. I will share how to move from surviving to thriving, from living in stress to living in creation in my next video. Thank you for watching.